To say Warner Brothers' DC Extended Universe failed is kind of an understatement. I've never seen anything in the film industry implode that fast. Out of the gate, Man of Steel got a mixed response. Even though it's the best visual depiction of Superman we've ever seen, the whole dark and moody Zack Snyder tone turned off a lot of people, and unfortunately, it set the audience response for all the following DC films. WB did have some successes. Suicide Squad initially got over with fans, but soured after about a year. Wonder Woman got high praise, and Aquaman was the first and only DCEU film to crack $1 billion at the box office. But the Snyderverse could not be undone. Any of the DCEU films had to fit within Snyder's framework while trying to dance around the doom and gloom. They kind of did it with Suicide Squad, Aquaman, and Shazam, but Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1984 were total misses. It didn't get any better with the 4-hour director's cut of Justice League. Snyder came in to finish the film, at least the first part. That too got a mixed response, partly from the film itself and partly from the Snyder fans who seemed to get under everyone's skin. It seemed that following the release of the Snyder Cut, WB was done with Snyder's universe. However, like I said before, everything they were putting out was tied to that universe, creating a massive problem in trying to shift the tone. Their saving grace could be the long-awaited Flash film, which is based on the Flashpoint event. This is where Barry Allen goes back in time to stop the killing of his mother, altering the timeline to something a shade or two less bleak than the Snyderverse. Eventually, the damage is partially undone, creating the ill-fated DC New 52. That's the template WB is working with, which gives them license to retcon whatever they want for the aftermath. Of course, it would have helped them if Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, didn't lose all his marbles and start attacking people. Now WB has to put out a film set in a universe nobody likes, starring an actor nobody likes, playing a version of the Flash nobody likes. Also, the film has been delayed and rewritten half a dozen times, so who knows what state it's in. How are you going to get anyone to want to see this movie? Seems that Warner Brothers is a studio without a plan, and the few people they brought in to make a plan, like Jeff Johns, failed. So instead, they brought in the recently uncanceled James Gunn to direct The Suicide Squad, sequel to Suicide Squad, which totally isn't confusing. Gunn is known for his humor with the Guardians of the Galaxy films, so the idea was to bring that to this darker DCEU and brighten it up. In fairness, he did a great job. The Suicide Squad is very tongue-in-cheek but still feels like it's part of the Snyderverse. Gunn followed up the film with a spin-off show based on John Cena's Peacemaker. The show is more cynical than grim, but it still works. Given the audience response to the film and show and how Gunn likes to work, he has very specific plans for all his projects. It's not a surprise WB put him in charge of the main DC universe. Gunn and Peter Safran will manage what was the Snyderverse. All other spin-off concepts like the Batman and Joker will be their own thing handled by other people. What that means is that there will probably be multiple versions of Batman or Superman or Joker in the films instead of a single version. That alone could confuse audiences, but more confusing is what happens to the current universe. Like I mentioned, the Flash movie is based on Flashpoint, and the teaser trailers already implied a connection to Tim Burton's Batman, meaning this would be a crossover film, much like the Doctor Strange film. This not only gives WB a chance to add in some of the previous films that people already like, but a chance to undo the Snyderverse, not just in tone, but entirely. That raises some issues though, such as Gunn's work being tied to the Snyderverse. He's already invested in the film and show, so do all those get undone or tweaked? What does that mean for the upcoming films? Black Adam just came out and it's set in the Snyderverse. Is that going to be undone? Is the sequel canned since it looks like the film may or may not lose anywhere between $50 to $100 million at the box office? WB just got Black Adam started, and they've got the second Shazam film coming out with a potential crossover there. Are they really going to shelve the Marvel family as they're building momentum? Then there's a whole thing teased by The Rock and then confirmed before the film came out, which is Henry Cavill back as Superman. He's been in limbo for years, and we're still waiting almost 10 years later for Man of Steel 2. It seems that Dwayne Johnson might have been responsible for getting Cavill back into the films, and it seemed like Man of Steel was set to go, but we got news recently that it was canned along with Wonder Woman 3. Does WB not want Henry Cavill as Superman anymore? Are they really willing to let him get snatched up by Disney and get made into Captain Britain, Gladiator, Sentry, or Hyperion? Are you really going to let Disney do the proper Superman film? Because you know that's what they'll do. Then there's Wonder Woman 3. When it first got reported that the film got canned, it sounded like the studio just canceled the film. But it turns out Patty Jenkins left due to notes from the studio, meaning notes probably from Safran and Gunn, telling her it was too much like the much-maligned Wonder Woman 1984. If you're curious why people don't like that movie, take Superman 3, ditch Richard Pryor but keep the campy humor, then add in modern VFX and a disappointing 80s soundtrack. Now you know why. And trust me, what you just imagined is better than the film. Apparently what Jenkins wrote was no bueno, so she decided to bounce instead of change her vision. The question now is whether Gal Gadot is out. I hope she isn't. She's awesome as Wonder Woman. Same thing goes for Jason Momoa as Aquaman. He's got another movie coming out, so he's at least in for the moment, but will they ditch him afterwards? One of the rumors is that he could be Lobo, which totally works. He's perfect for that. But given how everything's split now, there's no reason why he can't do both characters either in a separate universe or the same. I mean, we have the technology. One of the potential issues for WB, though, is that Cavill, Momoa, Gadot, and The Rock are all part of the same talent agency. So this could be a behind-the-scenes nightmare if any of them gets bumped, especially since The Rock apparently fought hard to get Cavill back when the studio, according to him, inexplicably and inexcusably didn't want Cavill back. I have no idea what's behind that, but I do know that picking a fight with the most profitable actor at the moment, who could easily go to Disney and take his pick of any character, probably isn't the wisest decision. You definitely don't want all 4 of them going to Disney. Now, for his part, James Gunn countered the claim that he's against Cavill as Superman. When confronted on Twitter, he said that that was false, and he's tweeted out about the Dawn of Superman film anniversary and Kingdom Come, the Alex Ross and Mark Waid comic that critiqued the dark and edgy 90s superheroes. If that's the idea he's got planned, I'm all in. I would love to see that done, and if they didn't bring Alex Ross in for concept art, that would be a crime deserving of the Phantom Zone. But as of right now, we have no idea what Gunn has planned. We could take what happened in Peacemaker as a clue, though. If that's the plan, I could see this being more successful than the Snyder films, but still not bringing in the MCU dollars, which is really what Warner Brothers wants. It sucks to get beaten at the superhero game when WB literally has the most well-known superheroes in the world. To have Superman and Batman films fail to crack $1 billion when everyone knows who they are is just sad. This is what Gunn and Safran have to fix. I'm still hoping, though, that someone will just watch the animated series again, because everything you need is right there. You literally have the blueprints at your fingertips. Just go and watch them. Watch Batman the Animated Series, The Adventures of Superman, and Justice League, and then make that live action. And then remember to give Dwayne McDuffie some credit, for God's sakes. Done. Everybody will be happy. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.